Hello, travelers, and welcome. You've found a quiet place to rest, where stories unfold slowly and the world moves at a gentler pace. Tonight, there's nowhere you need to be and nothing you need to do. Just settle in, get comfortable, and allow the journey ahead to carry you calmly from place to place, breath to breath. Whenever you're ready, let's begin. The morning begins before it asks to be noticed. There is a softness to the air as you arrive at the station, a gentle pause between night and day, where the world seems to move more quietly than usual. The sky above is pale and undecided, washed in subtle tones of silver and faint blue, as though it is still deciding what kind of day it wants to become. The platform beneath your feet feels calm and patient, carrying the quiet confidence of a place that has witnessed countless mornings unfold in much the same way. You walk slowly, unhurried, your footsteps muted against the ground. The air is cool but not sharp, brushing lightly against your face and hands. It carries the faint scent of damp stone, clean metal, and something almost mineral, left behind by rain that passed through earlier in the night. Somewhere nearby, a single bird calls out, clear and brief, then falls silent again, as if satisfied with having acknowledged the morning. The train waits along the platform, its carriages aligned in a steady row. There is no sense of urgency in its presence. It does not rush the day forward. The doors stand open, welcoming rather than commanding, inviting you to step inside without hurry. You do, choosing a seat by the window, placing your bag down gently at your feet. There is no need to check the time. This morning is not concerned with schedules. It will move at its own pace, and you are content to move with it. The interior of the carriage feels familiar and reassuring. Upholstered seats hold a quiet warmth, shaped by the many travelers who have rested here before you. The air inside carries a soft blend of fabric, paper, and distant coffee, a scent that feels comforting rather than intrusive. The window beside you is marked with faint streaks from earlier rain, blurring the view beyond just enough to soften it. You settle into your seat, feeling supported, held. Around you, a handful of other passengers sit quietly. Movements are minimal. Voices, when they appear at all, remain low and gentle, as though everyone has agreed without speaking to preserve the calm. Somewhere nearby, a newspaper is folded with care. A paper cup is lifted, releasing the subtle aroma of tea into the air. These sounds come and go, never lingering long enough to disturb the stillness. When the train begins to move, it does so almost imperceptibly. There is no sudden jolt or announcement, only a gradual awareness that the platform is beginning to slip away. The rails beneath the carriage offer their familiar rhythm, soft and steady, a sound that carries reassurance rather than demand. It is a rhythm that does not ask you to pay attention, only to relax into it. As the station recedes, the edges of the town pass quietly by. Brick buildings stand still in the early light, their windows dark or faintly glowing. A narrow street appears and disappears again. A small bridge passes overhead, framing the sky for just a moment before releasing it back into open space. Everything feels unremarkable in the most comforting way. Soon, the town thins, and the countryside begins to open itself fully. Rolling green fields stretch outward on either side of the tracks, their surfaces softened by a fine layer of morning mist. Hedgerows divide the land into gentle shapes, following the natural curves of the earth rather than imposing straight lines upon it. The greens are layered and calm, dotted with darker clusters of trees and pale stone walls that trace familiar boundaries across the land. The mist drifts slowly, lingering low to the ground, reluctant to lift too quickly. Sunlight filters through it in narrow, gentle bands, creating a glow that feels discovered rather than declared. You watch as small details emerge gradually, a fence line here, a lone tree there, the subtle rise of a distant hill, each revealed in its own time, without hurry. A small station slips past, modest and quiet, little more than a platform and a simple shelter. No one waits there now. Its name flashes briefly into view and disappears again, leaving behind only the impression of a place that knows how to pause and resume without effort, day after day. Inside the carriage, the rhythm of the train settles more deeply. The sound of wheels on rails becomes a gentle pattern, even and predictable. It invites your breathing to slow and align with it naturally. Inhale. Exhale. Each breath arrives easily, leaving without effort. Fields continue to pass by, some marked by grazing sheep scattered like pale shapes across the green. They lift their heads briefly as the train moves past, then return to grazing, unbothered and calm. A solitary tree stands at the crest of a small rise, its branches still, outlined softly against the brightening sky. You allow your gaze to follow the landscape without urgency. There is nothing to search for, nothing to anticipate. Each view feels complete as it is, requiring no interpretation. The countryside does not ask to be understood. It simply exists, open and generous. A narrow lane appears, winding between tall hedges, then slips away again. Somewhere beyond sight, a farmhouse sends a thin line of smoke upward, dissolving gently into the sky. The morning feels lived in, quietly awake, yet still slow enough to welcome you fully into its rhythm. The carriage remains peaceful. Conversations, if they occur at all, are brief and subdued, fading quickly back into silence. Most passengers gaze out of their windows or rest with eyes half closed, allowing the motion to carry them forward. There is a shared understanding that this is not a time for urgency. You lean back slightly, feeling the seat support you fully. The warmth inside the carriage contrasts softly with the cool light outside. Your breathing slows further, guided by the steady movement beneath you. The gentle vibration of the train feels almost like a lullaby, constant and reassuring. Another station passes, stone-built, with a low platform and a single bench. A lamppost stands unlit, its work done for now. The sign bearing the station's name is there and gone, and you feel no need to remember it. Names matter less than moments here. The train moves on, carrying you deeper into the countryside. Fields widen, hedgerows grow thicker. Birds lift briefly from the grass as you pass, their wings catching the light before settling again somewhere unseen. The land feels calm, settled, content in its quiet repetition. You notice how the morning seems to breathe. Mist lifts slightly, then settles again. Light strengthens, then softens. Nothing happens all at once. Everything unfolds gently, step by step, without interruption. The rails continue their quiet song beneath you, steady and unbroken. It is a sound that invites rest rather than attention. With each passing mile, a sense of routine deepens, the comfort of knowing that this journey has been made countless times before and will be made countless times again. There is no need to hurry toward its end. You simply ride, watching fields, hedges, and sky drift by, held within the calm embrace of a morning train moving patiently through the English countryside. The day stretches ahead, unclaimed and unhurried, and you allow yourself to remain right here within it, resting in the simple pleasure of being carried forward. The train continues its gentle movement, And with each passing moment, the sense of being fully inside the morning deepens. The outside world no longer feels separate from you. Instead, it seems to move in quiet harmony with your breath, with the steady rhythm beneath the carriage, with the calm that has settled comfortably around you. The countryside widens further now. Fields stretch out in long, unbroken expanses, their surfaces textured with subtle variations of green. Some are smooth and uniform, others slightly rougher, marked by faint tracks or changes in growth. Each field seems to rest exactly as it is meant to, without needing explanation or improvement. Hedgerows pass steadily beside the tracks, their leaves dense and layered. You imagine the quiet life within them, the small movements hidden from view, the birds perched patiently, the gentle continuity that exists regardless of trains or travelers. These hedges have stood here for years, perhaps centuries, observing mornings like this one again and again. The light has grown a little stronger now, though it remains soft. It reaches across the fields and settles lightly on the land, revealing more detail without becoming harsh. Dew still clings to the grass in places, catching the light in tiny flashes that appear and disappear as the train moves. Inside the carriage, the atmosphere remains hushed. The earlier sounds of settling have faded, replaced by near stillness. A few passengers sit with their heads resting gently against the windows. Others remain upright but relaxed, gazes unfocused, attention drifting easily between inside and out. You feel your body respond naturally to this calm. Muscles loosen without instruction. Your shoulders rest lower. Your hands lie still, no longer adjusting or fidgeting. There is a pleasant sense of heaviness beginning to form. Not the heaviness of fatigue, but of comfort. The sound of the train beneath you continues its quiet conversation with the rails. It is steady, predictable, never demanding attention. Occasionally, the tone shifts slightly as the train passes over a change in track or a subtle curve, but each variation blends smoothly back into the familiar rhythm. Outside, a line of trees approaches, their branches reaching gently toward one another across a narrow strip of land. As the train passes, shadows ripple softly across the window and the interior of the carriage. Light and shade alternate slowly, creating a brief, calming pattern before the open fields return. Beyond the trees, the land rises gently into low hills. From this slight elevation, the view expands, revealing a patchwork of fields divided by hedges and stone walls. The patterns repeat in reassuring ways, offering familiarity rather than monotony. A distant farmhouse appears, small against the wide land. Its walls are pale, its roof dark, and it sits quietly, surrounded by open space. A thin trail of smoke drifts upward from its chimney, curling lazily into the sky before fading. It is a simple sign of life beginning its day, steady and unremarkable. The train glides onward, unbothered by these small details, carrying you gently through them. There is no need to catalog what you see. The experience is complete without effort. You notice how your breathing has slowed further, deepening naturally. Each inhale feels full but easy. Each exhale releases without pause. The rhythm of your breath aligns comfortably with the movement of the train, creating a subtle sense of unity between you and the journey. Another small station passes by, quieter than the last. Its platform is edged with grass rather than stone, blending seamlessly into the surrounding fields. A simple shelter stands to one side, empty and patient. The station's name is visible only for a moment before it disappears again, leaving behind a sense of place rather than a label. Inside, the carriage remains warm and balanced. The air feels settled. No drafts, no sudden changes. Just a steady, neutral comfort that allows your body to relax further without noticing. Birdsong drifts faintly through the window, carried on the morning air. The calls are spaced far apart, unhurried, as though the birds themselves are still easing into the day. Each sound arrives gently, then fades, leaving the quiet intact. The landscape continues to unfold in slow repetition. Fields, hedges, trees, sky, each element returning in slightly different arrangements. The familiarity becomes soothing, wrapping around you like a well-worn blanket. You feel pleasantly suspended between places. The town you left behind feels distant, already softened by memory. The destination ahead holds no urgency. This in-between space feels especially calm, free from expectation. The train crosses a low bridge, and for a moment, the sound beneath you changes, echoing softly before returning to its steady pattern. The transition is smooth, barely noticeable, yet it adds a gentle variation to the rhythm, like a change in a familiar melody. Beyond the bridge, a narrow river winds through the fields. Its surface reflects the pale sky, moving quietly, unconcerned with the train passing above it. For a few seconds, water and rail run side by side, then part ways again, each continuing its own gentle journey. Your attention drifts easily now. Sometimes you watch the scenery. Sometimes you rest your gaze on the soft blur of motion near the tracks. Sometimes your eyes close briefly, opening again without effort. There is no need to decide. The carriage remains quiet. A page turns softly somewhere behind you. A cup is set down with care. These sounds feel distant, cushioned by the calm that fills the space. Outside, the sky has brightened to a pale blue, though thin clouds drift lazily across it. They move slowly, stretching long and thin, mirroring the unhurried pace below. You feel held within the movement, supported by the steady continuation of the journey. There is nothing you need to do, nowhere you need to be, no thought you need to follow. The train moves on through the English countryside, carrying you gently deeper into the morning, deeper into comfort, as the world outside continues its quiet, familiar unfolding. The movement of the train has become so familiar now that it feels almost like stillness. You are aware of the forward motion only in the soft shifting of light and shadow outside the window, in the way one field gives way to the next without any sense of transition. The journey no longer feels like something that is happening. It simply is. The countryside settles into a gentle repetition. Fields stretch out, pause briefly at the edge of your view, then slide away again. Hedgerows trace slow, patient lines through the land, their shapes softened by distance and morning light. Trees appear in small clusters or alone, standing quietly, their presence steady and unremarkable. There is comfort in this predictability. Nothing surprises you. Nothing interrupts the calm. The landscape does not ask for attention or interpretation. It exists in a way that feels generous, offering itself without expectation. Inside the carriage, the air feels even more settled now. The earlier sense of morning activity has faded completely. No one moves unless they need to. No one speaks unless there is a reason. Even then, voices remain low, careful, respectful of the quiet that has grown between the seats. You feel your body respond more deeply to this environment. The gentle heaviness that began earlier has spread, settling into your arms, your legs, your shoulders. There is no tension left to release. It has already gone, unnoticed, leaving behind a sense of ease. Your breathing is slow and steady, moving without conscious effort. Each inhale arrives naturally. Each exhale drifts out just as easily. There is no pause between them that feels empty. Everything flows. The sound of the rails beneath you has softened further in your awareness. It no longer registers as individual clicks or vibrations, but as a continuous presence, like a distant current carrying you forward. Occasionally, the tone changes slightly, but it always returns to the same gentle baseline. Outside, the fields appear brighter now as the mist thins. The light reveals subtle textures, variations in grass, faint tracks where animals or machinery have passed, the gentle rise and fall of the land. These details appear quietly, then blend back into the whole. A long fence runs parallel to the tracks for a while, its posts passing in a slow, regular rhythm. You find your attention drifting with them, one after another, until they merge into a single, continuous line. Beyond the fence, a meadow opens wide. Wildflowers are scattered lightly across it, their colors softened by distance. They do not stand out sharply. They belong exactly where they are. The train curves gently and the view shifts. Hills appear farther away now, their outlines softened by the remaining haze. The sky above them is calm and expansive, holding everything without effort. You notice how little you are thinking. Thoughts still arise occasionally, but they are faint and incomplete, dissolving almost as soon as they appear. You do not follow them. There is no need. The carriage remains warm and balanced. The seat supports you fully. Your head rests comfortably, your neck relaxed. There is no urge to adjust your position. You have already found the place where you can rest. Another small station passes, quieter than the last. Its platform blends into the surrounding land, as though it belongs there naturally rather than having been placed. No one waits. No one boards. The train continues without pause. Birdsong drifts in again, faint and intermittent. It feels distant, softened by the movement of the train and the open space of the fields. Each call arrives gently, then fades, leaving the quiet intact. The countryside continues its slow unfolding. Nothing changes quickly. Light shifts by degrees, colors deepen subtly, shadows shorten almost imperceptibly. Time feels wide here, generous, unmeasured. You feel safely carried within this steady progression. There is no need to monitor the journey or anticipate what comes next. The tracks are already laid. The train knows where it is going. Your awareness drifts inward and outward without effort. Sometimes you notice the view. Sometimes you notice the sound. Sometimes you notice nothing at all, resting instead in the simple sensation of being supported and moved. The rhythm beneath you remains constant, gently rocking, gently guiding. It invites rest without insisting on it. You are free to drift as deeply as you wish. Outside, the fields and hedges continue to pass, repeating their quiet patterns. Inside, the carriage holds its calm, wrapping around you like a protective shell. The morning stretches on, unhurried and complete, as the train moves steadily through the English countryside, carrying you deeper into comfort, deeper into stillness. The train continues onward, and by now the motion feels so natural that it no longer registers as movement at all. It feels more like a gentle state you have entered, one that holds you steadily while the world shifts quietly around you. The sense of time has softened further, stretching and loosening, no longer marked by minutes or or destinations. Outside the window, the countryside maintains its calm repetition. Fields appear, linger briefly, then give way to the next. Hedgerows trace familiar boundaries, their shapes consistent and reassuring. Trees stand where they have always stood, offering shade and presence without drawing attention to themselves. The light has settled into a balanced brightness now. It is no longer tentative, yet it remains kind. It rests evenly across the land, revealing detail without sharpness. Colors feel grounded and calm. Greens deep but not vivid, blues pale and expansive, earth tones warm and steady. Inside the carriage, stillness has fully taken hold. The earlier sense of shared wakefulness has faded into a collective quiet. Most passengers are resting now, their bodies relaxed, their breathing slow. Even those who remain awake seem suspended in a gentle pause, content to simply exist within the motion. You feel yourself matching this state effortlessly. Your body feels heavy and supported, settled into the seat as though it were shaped specifically for you. There is no pressure anywhere, no area asking for adjustment. Everything feels aligned. Your breathing is deep and even, moving without guidance. Inhale flows into exhale without interruption. Each breath feels complete on its own, needing nothing more. The sound of the train beneath you has become almost indistinguishable from silence. It is present, constant, but so familiar that it blends into the background of awareness. It no longer draws attention. It simply reassures. Outside, a long stretch of open land unfolds. No buildings interrupt the view. No roads cross the tracks. Just fields extending toward the horizon, gently rising and falling. The simplicity feels intentional, as though the landscape itself has chosen calm. Clouds drift slowly overhead, their movement barely perceptible. They seem to rest in the sky rather than travel through it, content to remain where they are for as long as they wish. Their presence adds depth without distraction. A distant line of trees marks the edge of a woodland. As the train passes, their shadows move softly across the window, creating a brief pattern of light and shade inside the carriage. The effect is subtle, soothing, and quickly passes, returning the light to its steady balance. You notice that thoughts have nearly disappeared. When one arises, it is vague and fleeting, dissolving before it forms fully. There is nothing to hold on to, nothing that needs resolution. Awareness feels wide and quiet. The carriage remains comfortably warm. The air feels settled, unmoving, as though it too has decided to rest. No drafts, no changes, just a consistent, gentle atmosphere that allows the body to sink deeper into ease. Another small station passes by unnoticed. Its presence is marked only by a slight shift in scenery. Then it is gone again. The train does not slow. It does not need to. The journey continues smoothly, uninterrupted. Birdsong reaches you faintly once more, softened by distance and motion. It arrives gently, then fades, leaving behind the same quiet it found. The countryside continues its slow, predictable rhythm. Fields, hedges, trees, sky, each element returns again and again, never demanding attention, always offering comfort through familiarity. You feel completely at ease within this repetition. There is safety in knowing what comes next, even when you do not consciously observe it. The predictability becomes a form of rest. Your eyelids feel heavier now, though there is no need to close them intentionally. Rest comes naturally, settling in layers, deepening gradually rather than all at once. The train carries you onward without effort, without interruption. It does not ask for awareness or direction. It simply continues, steady and reliable. You allow yourself to drift more fully, trusting the motion, trusting the quiet, trusting the gentle progression of the journey. The morning train moves patiently through the English countryside, holding you within its calm, steady rhythm, as awareness softens and rest deepens. There is nothing more you need to do, nothing you need to decide, nothing you need to follow, just the gentle motion, just the quiet sound, just the comfort of being carried. The journey continues without announcement, and the transition into this next stretch of the morning feels seamless. There is no clear dividing line between what has already passed and what lies ahead. The train does not mark time in chapters or segments. It simply moves, carrying you forward in one long, unbroken flow. Outside the window, the countryside holds its steady calm. The fields are broader here, opening outward in gentle sweeps of green that seem to breathe with the land itself. The grass moves slightly in the breeze, not bending fully, just enough to show that the air is alive. Each movement is subtle, unhurried, content. Hedgerows continue to trace familiar paths across the landscape. They curve softly, following the shape of the earth rather than cutting across it. Their leaves are dense and layered, absorbing sound, absorbing motion, adding to the sense that everything here is softened, cushioned. The sky above has settled into a pale, even blue. Clouds drift lazily across it, stretched thin and light, their edges dissolving gently into the air. They move slowly enough that you can watch them without feeling the need to follow their progress. They are simply there, resting as much as moving. Inside the carriage, the quiet feels deeper now. The earlier awareness of sharing space with others has faded into something more abstract. You know others are there, but their presence feels distant, indistinct, like shapes behind frosted glass. Everyone seems wrapped in their own calm, their own gentle pause. Your body feels fully at rest within the seat. There is a sense of being anchored and floating at the same time, supported from beneath, carried from around. Muscles no longer respond to the movement of the train. They have accepted it completely. Breathing continues slowly, evenly, without thought. Each breath arrives at its own pace. Each breath leaves just as gently. There is no gap that feels empty, no moment that feels rushed. The sound of the rails beneath you remains constant, a low, steady presence that has become part of the background of awareness. It no longer draws attention. It no longer changes meaning. It simply exists, offering continuity. Outside, a series of fences runs alongside the track for a while. The posts pass one by one, evenly spaced, creating a quiet visual rhythm. You may find your attention resting there briefly, following the repetition until it blends into a single, continuous impression. Beyond the fences, fields open again. Some are freshly tended, their surfaces darker, textured, showing the marks of recent work. Others remain untouched, tall grass swaying gently, left to rest. The coexistence of movement and stillness feels natural here, balanced. A small cluster of trees appears near the edge of one field. Their branches reach outward but remain still, leaves barely stirring. They stand as they have for years, observing without involvement, present without demand. The train curves slightly, and the view shifts once more. New fields replace the old, arranged in similar patterns but never exactly the same. The repetition feels reassuring rather than monotonous, like hearing a familiar melody played softly again. Inside the carriage, warmth remains steady, The air feels neutral, settled, neither cool nor warm enough to draw attention. It allows the body to sink further into comfort without distraction. You may notice that your thoughts have become rare now. When they appear, they are brief and indistinct, dissolving almost as soon as they surface. There is no sense of losing anything by letting them go. The quiet feels sufficient. Another station passes, barely noticed. Its platform blends into the land so naturally that it feels less like a place of arrival and departure, and more like a brief pause in the scenery. No one boards. No one leaves. The train continues without interruption. Birdsong reaches the carriage faintly, softened by distance and motion. The calls are sparse and gentle, never overlapping, never urgent. Each one appears alone, then fades back into the quiet. The countryside continues to offer its steady repetition. Fields, hedges, trees, sky, arranged and rearranged with slight variations that keep the view familiar and calm. You feel deeply comfortable now, settled into the movement, settled into the sound, settled into the quiet awareness that remains. There is nothing you need to watch closely, nothing you need to anticipate. The train carries you onward through the English countryside, holding the same gentle pace, the same soothing rhythm, as the morning stretches wider and rest deepens naturally. The train continues with the same unbroken calm, and the sense of continuity grows stronger. Nothing signals a change, nothing needs to. The journey has found its pace, and that pace feels perfectly suited to the morning, to the land outside, and to the quiet that is settled within you. Beyond the window, the countryside appears almost timeless now. The fields are wide and open, their boundaries gently defined by hedgerows that curve and meander without sharp angles. The land seems to have shaped itself this way slowly, patiently, over many years, choosing ease over precision. Light rests evenly across the fields, revealing subtle differences in color and texture. Some areas of grass appear slightly darker, others lighter, depending on how the sun reaches them. These variations are gentle and gradual, never abrupt. Your eyes move across them easily, without needing to focus. The sky remains pale and open, holding everything beneath it. Clouds drift lazily, their movement so slow it feels almost imagined. They stretch and thin as they travel, dissolving softly at the edges, never forming anything distinct enough to demand attention. Inside the carriage, the quiet feels complete. The small sounds that once marked shared space have faded almost entirely. Breathing, fabric, the faint presence of others, all of it blends into a single, indistinct background. The train feels less like a public space now and more like a private cocoon. Your body feels fully settled within this cocoon. There is no tension left to release. Shoulders rest naturally. Jaw softens. Hands lie still, fingers relaxed. The seat supports you in a way that feels effortless, as though it has learned exactly how to hold you. Breathing continues on its own, deep and slow. Each inhale arrives gently, filling without strain. Each exhale leaves smoothly, carrying nothing with it. There is no sense of holding, no need to control. The sound beneath the carriage remains steady and reassuring. It has become so familiar that it feels almost like silence, yet its presence provides a subtle sense of movement and safety. It is the sound of being carried without effort. Outside, a long stretch of hedgerow runs parallel to the track, its leaves dense and layered. The hedge absorbs sound, absorbs motion, adding to the feeling that everything here has been softened. You imagine the quiet life within it, small movements hidden from view, ongoing and undisturbed. Beyond the hedge, another field opens wide. It appears untouched, tall grass moving gently in the breeze. No machinery, no paths, no signs of urgency. Just space, resting exactly as it is. The train curves slightly again, and the view shifts. Hills appear farther away, their outlines softened by distance and light. They rise and fall gently, offering depth without drama. Inside, warmth remains balanced and constant. The air feels still, as though it too has settled into rest. There are no drafts, no changes, nothing to pull attention back to the body. Comfort feels complete. Thoughts are rare now. When one surfaces, it feels vague and incomplete, dissolving almost immediately. There is no sense of losing anything by letting it go. The quiet that remains feels fuller than thought. Another station passes, barely noticeable. Its platform blends into the surrounding land, appearing and disappearing without ceremony. The train does not slow. It does not need to. The journey continues smoothly, uninterrupted. Birdsong drifts in faintly once more, spaced widely, unhurried. Each sound appears alone, then fades, leaving the quiet intact. It feels like a gentle reminder that life continues softly beyond the carriage. The countryside maintains its steady rhythm. Fields, hedges, trees, sky, each element returns again and again, arranged with small variations that keep the view familiar and calming. You feel deeply at ease within this repetition. There is safety in predictability, comfort in knowing what comes next without needing to observe it closely. Your awareness drifts naturally between inside and outside, between sound and stillness, between breath and motion. There is no effort in this drifting. It happens on its own. The train carries you onward through the English countryside, maintaining the same gentle pace, the same soothing rhythm. As the morning continues to stretch open and rest settles even more deeply. The journey continues in the same quiet manner, and by now the sense of movement feels almost symbolic rather than physical. The train glides forward, but your awareness remains settled, anchored in a calm that no longer depends on what passes outside the window. The countryside maintains its familiar pattern. Fields extend outward, their edges softened by hedgerows that follow gentle curves. The land seems to rest comfortably within itself, showing no urgency, no sharp contrasts. Everything appears exactly where it belongs. Light continues to rest evenly across the landscape. It does not shift dramatically. Instead, it deepens by degrees, adding clarity without brightness. Shadows shorten slightly, but the change is so gradual that it barely registers. Inside the carriage, the atmosphere feels almost weightless. The earlier sense of structure, rows of seats, aisles, windows, has softened into a single, unified space. Everything blends together into a quiet whole. Your body remains completely at ease. The seat supports you without pressure. Your spine rests naturally. Your head feels comfortably balanced. There is no signal from the body asking for movement or adjustment. Breathing flows slowly and steadily. Each breath feels smooth and complete. There is no sense of effort in either direction. The rhythm feels self-sustaining, like the gentle movement of the train beneath you. The sound of the rails has faded further into the background. It remains present, but it no longer feels like sound. It feels like reassurance, like continuity, like a steady thread holding the experience together. Outside, a wide meadow opens up, stretching toward the horizon. The grass moves faintly in the breeze, creating slow, subtle waves that echo the train's gentle motion. The effect is calming, almost hypnotic. A line of trees marks the far edge of the meadow. They stand quietly, their leaves barely stirring. Their presence feels grounding, steady, offering a sense of permanence within the passing landscape. The train curves slightly, and the view shifts once again. New fields appear, arranged in patterns that feel familiar, even when seen for the first time. The repetition no longer feels like repetition at all. It feels like continuity. Inside the carriage, the quiet has deepened to the point where even awareness itself feels softened. You are aware, but not alert. Present, but not focused. Thoughts no longer form clearly enough to follow. If a thought does arise, it dissolves almost immediately, leaving behind only a sense of space. There is no frustration in this, no effort. It feels natural, comfortable. Another small station passes unnoticed. Its presence registers only as a brief shift in scenery, then fades back into the steady rhythm of fields and hedges. The train continues without pause. Birdsong reaches you faintly, softened by distance and motion. Each sound appears gently, then fades, leaving the quiet intact. The spacing between calls feels wide and unhurried. The countryside continues its slow unfolding. Nothing changes quickly. Nothing interrupts the calm. Time feels expansive, generous, unmeasured. You feel fully supported within this gentle progression. There is no need to monitor the journey or anticipate what comes next. The train moves forward on its own, reliable and steady. Your awareness drifts effortlessly. Sometimes it rests on the sound beneath you. Sometimes on the soft movement outside the window. Sometimes it rests nowhere in particular, suspended comfortably in between. The warmth inside the carriage remains balanced and constant. The air feels settled, unmoving, as though it too has decided to rest. The train carries you onward through the English countryside, maintaining the same soothing rhythm, the same gentle pace, as rest deepens naturally and the morning stretches open. The train continues for a while longer, though by now the sense of continuation matters more than the distance being covered. The movement feels complete in itself, as though the journey has gently reached the place it was always meant to reach. Not a station, not a destination on a map, but a deeper state of rest. Outside the window, the countryside remains unchanged in its quiet rhythm. Fields extend outward in soft greens, bordered by hedgerows that curve patiently across the land. Trees stand where they have stood for years, offering shade and presence without drawing attention. The sky above is pale and open, holding everything beneath it with calm assurance. Nothing new appears, and nothing needs to. The repetition feels intentional now, comforting in its predictability. Each field resembles the last just enough to feel familiar, yet differs subtly enough to remain gentle and alive. Inside the carriage, stillness has fully settled. The quiet is no longer something you notice. It has become the natural state of the space. Breathing, sound, warmth, and motion blend together seamlessly, forming a soft background that supports rest without interruption. Your body feels heavy in the most peaceful way. Muscles are relaxed, limbs rest easily. There is no impulse to move, no signal asking for attention. The seat holds you steadily, and the gentle vibration beneath you feels like a cradle rather than a machine. Your breathing is slow and deep, moving entirely on its own. Each inhale arrives without effort. Each exhale releases softly, carrying you further into comfort. There is no pause that feels empty, no moment that feels unfinished. The sound of the train has faded into near silence. It is still there, constant and reliable, but so familiar now that it no longer registers as sound. It feels more like reassurance, proof that you are being carried safely forward without needing to guide anything yourself. Outside, a final long stretch of open land passes by. No buildings interrupt the view, no roads cross the tracks, just fields, hedges, and sky continuing in gentle harmony. The simplicity feels complete, as though the world itself has quieted to support rest. Thoughts have all but disappeared. When one arises, it is soft and indistinct, dissolving before it can take shape. Awareness feels wide and calm, unburdened by direction or intention. Your eyelids grow heavier now, though there is no need to close them deliberately. Rest arrives naturally, settling in layers, deepening gradually rather than all at once. You allow it to happen without resistance. The train continues on its steady path through the English countryside, but your attention no longer needs to follow it. You are free to drift, free to rest, free to let the journey carry you wherever it goes. There is nothing more you need to do. Nothing you need to decide. Nothing you need to hold. Just the gentle motion. Just the quiet presence. Just the comfort of being carried. As the countryside continues to pass softly beyond the window, you drift fully into rest, supported by the calm rhythm of the train and the quiet morning that surrounds it. As our journey comes to a gentle close, allow yourself to drift deeper into rest. If you enjoyed traveling with me tonight, you're warmly invited to like this video, share it with a fellow traveler, and subscribe to the channel for more calming journeys like this one. New travel sleep stories are released every week, always waiting for you when you're ready to unwind. Until next time, rest well and travel peacefully.